All right. Okay. All right. Let's begin our next segment. Once again, History Strikes Back. All right. There's lots of interesting things that happened on this day. This is January. We're all hearing this on January 5th. Hopefully, the air date will be January 5th, 2014, if God willing, and the creeks don't rise. I guess the most interesting, most significant thing that happened on this day was in 1959. Was a meeting between William Morgan and Fidel Castro. William Morgan was he was an American guy. He was from Cleveland, speaking of Cleveland, and he was I don't even know if he had any kind of Cuban or Spanish heritage in him at all. He just wanted to be a commie, I guess, and decided that the best place to go was Cuba, and Cuba was
men with high aspirations.
Yeah, they were recruiting commies, and so he went down there, and I guess he had some relative military experience, and so Castro took him in, and he actually became one of Castro's right hand henchmen, so to speak. The story doesn't really end well for William Morgan, though. I think it was roughly about 6 or 8 months later, he was accused of being part of one CIA plot against Castro, and then I think another 6 or 8 months after that, he was once again set aside.
So he started off wanting to join Castro, and then he wanted to kill him?
Well, he was an opportunist, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. I guess the CIA came and approached him, and said, "Hey, you're American.
Sure.
How about we make things better for you than they are for you right now?" So I don't know. It kind of went back and forth. There's various scholarship on it, but actually, the only thing that I could find that went into any detail about his meetings with the CIA was a book that I don't have in front of me right now. Of course, that always happens. I can't ever.
Just when you think, just when we think we're prepared.
I know. I wrote a ton of names down in books and stuff, and I was like, hey, forgot about William Morgan and Castro. But anyway, nonetheless, there is a book out there regarding William Morgan's association with Castro and the CIA, and it was probably I don't even know if he made it 2 years. He
short-lived.
It was like Castro was like, "Hey, come over here."
Yeah,
and then that was it. That was all she wrote.
Yeah.
The Breyer incident happened in 1993, roughly 21 years ago, barely making it history in my estimation. And she's running away, just like my kids at the dinner table. Just get them to having a conversation. Anyway, no.
So I don't have a camera. They can't see me running away. It's kind of nice not having eyes on me. The
Breyer incident. The Breyer incident.
By the way, you're going to find me.
Yeah. This is a Scottish boot.
I thought you were going to go see my husband.
Bye.
What is this?
No, it was written out. I think. I don't know. We'll come back to that. He came back. He's done. Business is over. He's back.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
I didn't.
I
do things very quickly, so yes. I took care of business while you were walking around.
That's fine, Mr. Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Whoever.
Yes.
We're still on segment 1, right? The Breyer incident was a boot that was carrying roughly, I think, 83,000 metric gallons of oil, and it had got a hole in it, and I know.
This sounds familiar.
I don't know the exact quantity, but I discovered that this happened in 1993, and the Exxon Valdez happened in '89, right? Well, the Breyer incident actually spilled more oil, both out of the boat and into the ocean, than the Exxon Valdez.
Oh,
so
wow.
it is the largest oil catastrophe in history, and I think it even beats out that thing that happened a couple of years ago in the Gulf.
Wow.
So yeah, and the thing about it is, though, there wasn't a whole lot of cleanup because a big north wind came in and blew it all out to sea.
Actually, I remember hearing about that.
By the time everybody scrambled and got together and got it taken care of, it had all blown out to sea. So.
Yeah, they're not all that easy. I think this last one, they're still cleaning up seagulls.
Yeah, with paintbrushes. Yeah. By stroke by stroke, feather by feather. Yeah.
Poor seagulls.
So, and also in 1835, it was minus 23 degrees at Yale University. So.
And that's significant. Why?
Because it happened on January 5th. Minus 23 degrees?
Minus 23?
Don't you think that's a little extreme?
Dude, in Alaska at Christmas, it was negative 20 a couple of years ago. There were icicles in my nose. And that was considered warm for them.
Well, it's Connecticut, you know.
Does it not get cold in Connecticut? Or?
Well, I mean, it gets cold, but it doesn't get to minus 23 degrees.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's icicles in your nose cold, dude. And I wish that was an exaggeration.
So did you know that the Time Warrior was released on January 5th?
Yes. I saw this on the list and I got all excited. Only problem is I went on Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, and even YouTube. Don't ask. And could not find. This is like
couldn't
the
find
hardest.
the episode. Huh?
No, couldn't find the episode. You have to buy it. But it's significant because geek moment, right? Okay. This is
that's allowed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The Time Warrior, this January 5th, it was a 4-episode run. And January 5th was the day that they aired the 4th episode. And this particular episode was very significant because it not only aired Sarah Jane Smith, who was probably the most well-known of the Doctor's assistants of the classic Doctor Who. This was her first episode when she was introduced. This was back when the Doctor was John Pertwee. Most people know the Tom Baker Doctor. Okay, now you're giving me weird looks. Hey, you brought this up. First episode was Sarah Jane Smith. This was also the first episode where the Doctor's home planet Gallifrey was first discussed, and it was also the first episode where the Sondarans were discussed. And these were the guys who were like military type people. So yes, it was exciting. Too bad I hadn't seen it yet. So
okay, well, I'm very hopeful that the listeners will be as appreciative as you are of that mention.
And when I saw this on the script, I talked to Bruce about it, and I went on a much longer tirade about it. So guess what I'm getting for Christmas? Or by this time, what I got for Christmas. But yeah, so, I mean, John Pertwee was one of my favorite doctors, along with Tom Baker and of course David Tennant. And Sarah Jane was one of.
For those of you new listeners, I'm
a nerd.
I haven't. I've never watched a Doctor Who all the way through. I've seen about 10 minutes worth of it, I guess, maybe about like 3 episodes.
You have not lived.
I'm just not quite as enamored with it.
That befuddles me because all he does is go back in time.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Sometimes he goes. Okay, half the time he's in the future. So, actually, it's a 1/3. Sometimes he's in the future. Sometimes he's in the present. But sometimes he's in the past. I mean, one time he went and visited Mount Vesuvius before it blew.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's done that a few times.
So did he stop it?
Oh, of course not. It happened.
So William Wallace, are you a Doctor Who fan?
Well, since she's gone back to the past, I've seen him and I've waved my hand and said
hello.
And that was pretty much about it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
He ran by in a scarf and waved hello.
I asked him, why aren't you wearing any kilt? he gave no answer. He said, I'm in a hurry. I can't stop and talk.
A few other random things from January 5th. I picked this up off of HistoryOrb.com. We've used HistoryOrb before. I like it because it's such a comprehensive list. It may not be my favorite. I do find some errors. In fact, there is an error. It says in 1834 on January 5th that the Kiowa Indians recorded this date as the night that the stars fell. And I tried to do some research on it and discovered that it wasn't January 5th. It was actually November 12th.
Okay,
so I don't know. There's a graphic on here that says something not quite right, found a mistake, duplicate or historical inaccuracy, and they say let us know, and so
did you let them
I'm
know?
letting you know.
There you go.
Historyorb.com.
Yeah.
The steamship San Francisco wrecked and 300 people died in 1854. I was going to read something from further back in the past, 1527, January 5th. Felix Manz, a leader of the Anabaptist congregation in Zurich, which I guess I would assume would be part of the Zwingliest Catholic separatist movement, is executed by drowning. They like to kill those religious zealots in those days. We can go into detail about that later at some other show.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
The Spartacus Uprising in Berlin from 1919. The Germans, that was when the Germans were very upset about the World War I.
Wait, Spartacus Uprising?
Spartacus, I've also seen Spartacist.
Spartacist.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Spartacus like, I am Spartacus.
It's that's what I was just thinking. I
am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. This is, I don't know why, and I haven't, the research I've found, I haven't been able to figure out exactly why they call it the Spartacus Uprising. I don't know if it has anything to do with I am Spartacus, but it was when there was a set of German folk that got kind of riled up about the terms and conditions for surrender in World War I.
So were there 300 of them?
300 of them.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Well, no, that was I think that was the Spartacus thing. There were 300.
Oh, yeah, 300 I am Spartacuses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think it was, I think it was more than that, or they made it seem like more.
Oh.
The Finnish offensive in 1940 on January 5th was the Finnish offensive at Suomussalmi against Russia. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 1927, Judge Landis begins a 3-day public hearing on charges that 4 games played between Chicago and Detroit in 1917 had been thrown to the White Sox. The White Sox. That's the Say It Ain't So Joe thing. 1925, Nellie Taylor Ross became governor of Wyoming, the first woman governor in the U.S.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What year was that again?
1925.
Real? Whoa, a female was governor in 1925?
Yes.
Really?
Wait a minute, that can't be right. That's not right. Because Ma Ferguson was before 1925, wasn't she?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Look it.
Expert.
Look it up.
Blind.
Look it up.
I can look it up.
I can't believe this guy's wrong twice. It cannot possibly be. And then the last thing I was going to mention was 1953, Samuel Beckett's On Tombe Godot premieres in Paris, which is in a more common language is known as Waiting for Godot. You know about Waiting for Godot, right? Do you?
You
Kerry?
got me on an assignment.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
William Wallace, Waiting for Godot. You familiar with the play?
I can't say that I am.
Oh, okay. Well,
sorry about that.
It is of the existential genre, and if you ever see it, I went to see it several years ago, and in a theater in Fort Worth, and I found it highly amusing. But it's one of those productions where you're not really even sure if you're supposed to laugh because it's so pathetic. And like I guess I was with a bunch of, when I went, that everybody else in the theater was apparently a bunch of snobs or something. I don't know, or they found it pathetic enough to not laugh or think it was funny. But I thought it was hysterical. So I was like the only one in the theater laughing.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, to answer your question, and please don't be mad at me because it is Wikipedia, but so take it for what it's worth.
Wikipedia.
Excuse me. Wikipedia.
Yes.
The first woman to act as governor was Carolyn B. Shelton, who served as an acting governor for 1 weekend. The outgoing governor, George Earl Chamberlain, had been elected to the Senate and had to leave before his term. Somebody else got sick. So she was the first acting governor, and that was 1909, March 1st, or February 27th, 1909. Now, where Nellie came in, the first elected female governor was Nellie Nellie Taylor Ross of Wyoming, who was elected on November 4th, 1924, and sworn in January 5th, 1925.
All right.
So that's the difference.
Well, where's Ma Ferguson? Where does she come into play?
Find Ma Ferg. Okay, here we go. She was preceded by her late husband, William B. Ross. Wyoming was the first state. Elected on November 3rd was Miriam A. Ferguson of Texas. Had previously held the office. Her husband, Governor James Edward Ferguson, had previously held the office but been impeached and removed.
November 3rd, what?
Okay, let me just read the whole paragraph. The first, I'm trying to hurry through here.
That's
the
all right.
first elected female governor was Nellie Taylor Ross. Am I reading that right?
We got that.
Elected 1924, sworn in. She was
1924.
November 4th, 1924, sworn in January 5th, 1925. She was preceded in office by her late husband, William B. Ross. Wyoming was the first state to provide women's suffrage. Elected on November 3rd was Miriam A. Ferguson of Texas, whose husband, Governor James Edward Ferguson, had previously held the office, but had been impeached and removed from office in 1917. The first female governor elected without being the wife or widow of a past Senate state governor was Ella T. Grasso of Connecticut, elected in 1974 and sworn in on January 8th, 1975. And I am thoroughly confused.
Yes, I am too. Thank you for that.
And me three.
So I guess kudos
right.
go to Nellie Ross, Ma Ferguson, and what was her name? Ella.
And her dead husband.
And Ella Grasso. Who
Okay.
evidently all three of them received some kind. And is it just me? I have to ask you, this picture right there, Babe Ruth,
Yes.
is it just me or does he look like William Shatner?
Yes, he does actually.
He does
in that shot. That's-
Yes, he does.
yeah.
He looks like William Shatner.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd,
Theater of the mind.
since I'm on the sci-fi and